Hi, I'm Kirby James from the GYST method, and today I want to answer a question that is really deep into the methodology. Not so much the GYST method 3-step process or a framework, but more about so how do you actually do this? And not everybody likes to let people look under the hood about how you do what you do. But in this case, I think it's really important. First off, I want to give great thanks to two of my coaches and mentors, Robert Fritz and his wife, Rosalind Fritz. They were instrumental in what I'm about to describe to you, and I want to give kudos. Because if you ever want to learn what I'm about to explain to you and really dive into the details of what it takes, then they are the masters in this field. I want to explain in 3 steps how we're able to figure stuff out the way we do. It comes from a skill, which is kind of a weird skill, called visual listening. Visual listening, anatomically, actually goes against the way our neuroanatomy is organized. My undergraduate degree is in neurosciences, specializing, and one day I came across a book by the great AI researcher Ray Kurzweil. It was about 2012, 2013, and he wrote a book, How to Build a Mind. Really what it was talking about how to build artificial intelligence as a mind, but in order to do that, he had to study the way the human brain actually works. I'm not going to go into it all, but he talks about how our brain is an amazing inference engine. It takes information that it's seen before and it tries to fill in the gaps. And a lot of times it'll make up stories and it'll tell you things or suggest to you things that we call intuition. In some circumstances, this has been a differentiator in the evolution of humans. If I see a tail sticking out of the tall grasses and I hear something snarl, it might be a large predatory cat. And if I'm faster than you to run away, my gene pool survives. And so I pass on this mental processing capability. In sports and in other aspects of life, it's particularly valuable. It actually gets in the way when you listen. I teach PhDs and postdoc fellows a program in communication, and a big part of it is how to listen. And one of the metaphors I give to them is when you're listening to somebody, the stuff that's in your memory, the stuff that's inside, trapped and recorded for recovery, is your biggest obstacle to understanding them. The first step in this how do we figure it out stuff is that when we listen to you, we're only listening to what you tell us. And we're translating that into pictures. And in the process of doing so, we become obsessed with seeing what you see. I know, it's a head scratcher, right? You're thinking, what? Lots of people, most people in my experience, are poor listeners, including very expensive consultants. Our focus when we listen to you and your colleagues during the audit phase is we're looking to get your picture. I want to see your picture. I don't care at this point what anybody else has said. All I want to know is what you see. And that's really what makes us uncommon, is we're obsessed with getting your picture, not judging it, not critiquing it, not arguing with it. I want to get your picture. And so that's what makes it really, really unique, is we only want to get your picture, not anybody else's picture. Which leads us to step number 2. Step number 2 is that we repeat this process. Lots. In recent projects that I've done, I've interviewed anywhere up to 30 to 40 different members of a company. And every time I do, I'm getting each individual's picture. And when it's all over, like an animator. I'm scrolling through the pictures. I'm scrolling through all of the pictures, say in answer to one particular question. And I'm comparing all of the pictures. And when most of the pictures line up, I think I've got a sense of what's going on around here. But when I get a fractured picture, it tells me something absolutely fascinating. When populations of your organization believe completely different things, well, isn't that fascinating? Our skill set is being able to take the answers to a number of questions from dozens and dozens of people. In a storyboard studio, we take all these stories and we can lay them all out so we can find the patterns. We can see what people believe. And from it, we can tell truths. Now, the truth may be that everybody believes something, whether or not it's accurate. That's valuable. If everybody believes that something is this way, when in fact it's not, well, isn't that fascinating? These are the things we talk about in the debrief. Which leads me to number 3. The debrief, coming out of our listening, visioning, storyboarding. What we're doing in these moments is we're finding what is actually believed in your company. And then we bring the story. We bring the story to you in the debrief. And the debrief tells it like it is. And a lot of times, that's not particularly comfortable. A client that I worked with last year had me evaluate an entire division. And what came out of that was the belief that the executive, 2 levels up, was actually the cause of their current crisis. Was it actually true? I think there was some truth to it. But the more important thing was an entire division believed it. And as I sat down with that senior executive and shared this truth with them, you can imagine how uncomfortable that was for them. And we were compassionate and firm. It wasn't that we necessarily believed it to be true. We believed that it was at least in part true. The more important thing for that executive to understand was that almost to a person, everybody believed it was true. That's a harsh truth. It was delivered compassionately and firmly. When the executive attempted to shoot it down, we helped them understand that their belief in whether or not it was justified or right or accurate wasn't the point. The point was it was an impression they had created. And it was now up to them to manage it. And that's tough. Just because it's tough doesn't mean we shy away.